So I knew it was going to be more likely that we would have to fight for our position.
If you are new to arm wrestling, you might not realize how important every little detail in the setup of an arm wrestling match is. Every minor advantage in the position can be a huge factor in who's winning and who's losing. And we saw this on full display with Devin and Ermes yesterday, with Devin being able to slightly manipulate the setup to his advantage. Obviously, his strength was there as well, but his ability to not give Ermes the grip, not let Ermes just have the grip that he wants, the ideal grip that he wants. And even Ermes said that if he's not in his position, that he doesn't feel like 100%. That's what he said right here.
If I'm not in my position, I can't put my 100% power. But then we would very smart to block me here with a very high hand pronation.
So there you hear Ermes saying that if he's not in his position, he doesn't have 100% power, and Devin was doing a good job of blocking his power, blocking his back pressure by that rise and pronation high hand. We saw that position where Devin is rising over top, and in the second round, for example, he's able to get that high position to where Ermes had no choice but to give his wrist up and end up underneath, and then Devin able to get the high hook and then transition with his shoulder behind it. All of these factors come down to the setup, to be honest. The setup is so huge, and Devin shared some more details in depth about how going into the match, he kind of strategically trash talked Ermes' tendency to cry to the referees, to call it out, to make it so it's more likely that Ermes is actually going to fight, because the referees are going to be subconsciously aware that he is trying to complain to them, and they're going to be more harsh on him in their judging. So this is what he said right here.
And because I knew that Ermes is very good at speaking to the referee, I made it an issue going into the match. And we talked about it beforehand in the rules meeting. So I knew that there was a good possibility that it was going to be more likely that we would have to fight for our position. Mm-hmm. And if you're unwilling to fight for your position, you're probably not going to have as good of a position. Mm-hmm.
So there's the gem of what he's saying. I mean, you can watch the whole video for yourself. I'll put it in the description. But basically what he's alluding to is if you're not fighting for your position, the person who is willing to do that is going to have a slightly better position, therefore giving them an advantage, which we saw in this match. It's crazy. Some of the trash talk going into that match, how he is basically doing it strategically, calling out Ermes, basically crying to the refs to the point where it looks bad if Ermes is crying to the refs in the match, because Devin is already putting him on blast for that, essentially. And the refs seem to be pretty critical of Ermes. They were giving him a lot of fouls in that match. If you watch, they weren't really looking at Devin as much, but Devin is a lot more slick in how he's manipulating the setup to where it's not as obvious as Ermes. That's why he's kind of able to get away with what he's doing, unlike Ermes, which is, I mean, grade A strategy right there from Devin, because really from the moment you get to the table, it's a fight. Even the setup, everything is a fight. It's a competition. Devin takes it to the whole new level. Everything off the table, the lead up and everything is a competition. But those were some interesting thoughts from Ermes, and Devin kind of highlights that big topic of that setup and how it's such a huge factor. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Do you think that Ermes could have done better in the setup? He got a lot of fouls, lost on fouls in the first match, and in the second match he was being fouled as well. I think that may have messed him up. I think he was a little smarter in the setup. He could have done better potentially, maybe not lost his wrist so quickly, which was not a good move, not a good position you want to be in against Devin, because if you're losing your wrist against Devin, there's no way you're getting it back, and if you can't finish with the flop, if you don't have enough power, then it's pretty much over. But let me know your thoughts on this situation here.